Well, I want to go back a little bit further too, just in the family businesses, and then also your military service, which we totally appreciate. So thank you for that. Um, and then I continually hear you say like, "Look, I'm not the business guy. I'm not the business guy." But um, one, it hurts me to hear you say that because I see how much business you actually end up producing. But um, I like it on this show because you were probably like extremely relatable to the people watching it, right? Like a lot of the people watching it, watching the show are in the business, like in the racing business, and probably wouldn't necessarily consider themselves either business people or that, or or they say the same thing, but they're extremely getting stuff done. So, um, as we go through some of these questions and just like I really want to know what did you like, what sort of advice do you have for the community? What did you learn along the way that helped you out and like helped you be authentic to yourself and at the same time get stuff done? So so starting out with the family business, like as much or as little as you want to say about that, of what did you learn from that growing up in it, and what sort of advice do you have for the people watching?
Well, growing up, my dad was in the military. My mom was in the military. Mom got out. Dad stayed in, retired. We moved to California, where I graduated high school. A couple years later, I'm in the military, and then that whole 20-year-old kid who I want to be my own man kind of guy,
Right.
and I don't need advice from old people kind of stuff. Over the years, and as close as our family is to each other, over the years, I started realizing that the older I get, the more my parents know. You know, so eventually I give into that. I would say that my best piece of advice is don't fight that.
Hmm.
You know, my dad taught me everything I know about certain things, but not everything he knows. And I'm still learning.
Right.
Every day I'm learning something when we're together on the racetrack. Whether it's something that I see him talk about or if I just see him interacting with a certain person, I'm thinking, why would he be over there shaking hands with that person? And then I find out later. I mean, there's a lot of things that I continually pick up along the way. Um, Man, as far as advice, that's got to be it. I was in the military. I was actually in the boat field first. I was a watercraft operator in the
Okay.
army. It's a small field, doing that, and then I put my warrant packet in. I was an officer, and then I was overseas, and I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a pilot who transferred to the boat field as he was older in the reserves, and we got to talking, and he convinced me that flying helicopters was probably the coolest thing I could do. And I remember telling him my senior year. I mean, I did good in school. Grades were fine, but I remember my math teacher, Mr. Hans Barber, who might be watching. I don't know, telling me. I told him I want to be a pilot one day. It's like it's not going to happen. You got to focus. You don't have it. Okay. Well, that was not the good answer for me at the time. And so when I wanted to be a pilot, that kind of stuck in my head. And I worked like hell, calling up Washington, calling up HRC, calling up all these military installation people and organizations to try and figure out how to transfer because nobody had transferred as a warrant officer from the boat field into aviation.
Mhm.
And so I did it. It took a lot, but I finally did it. And I just, I couldn't get enough of it, man. So when I retired, I was taking government jobs, flying all over the country and then all over the world. And then I come home and, all right, what's next? And then I had a bad trip a few years back and, broke a couple vertebrae, just sitting on my side in a helicopter. It was bad.
Mm.
Um, but I got home and then all of that excitement in my life and, my phone's ringing off the hook one day and people need me for something and I have a purpose and all that went away. And it took a while. It took a long while and a lot of conversations with professionals for me to work my way out of that. And now I'm sitting in a driver's seat and I feel like I'm on top of the world again. You know, like this is what I should have been doing this 10 years ago, and it's been unbelievable.